Hello and welcome to the MOBOTIX Live app workshop, the new mobile companion for all IoT cameras and door stations. We have changed the name from MxBell to MOBOTIX Live because the focus is now no longer only door station. Now it supports all cameras from IoT cameras from the X4 series up to the next generation P7. What we have changed, I'd like to give you here in the next few minutes an overview. First, we're selecting the live view, and you suddenly can recognize now we have a camera list instead of a list with all preview images of the cameras. We have simply disabled that functionality by default to have a smarter overview and a quicker access to the selected cameras. Don't worry, if you missed that and you want that, go to Settings, enable the reference windows for the camera list, and then the reference windows will be reference images will be again there. Let us select my garage camera. There, this will establish connection to my camera, and with the app you have always the possibility in that full screen mode to swipe with your fingers to get from the right corner of the image to the left corner of the image, to also have zoom in and zoom out functionalities. And if we want to open the garage door, this is a perfect example for the new functionality soft buttons. There we have the ability to configure up to 8 soft buttons with different HTTP API commands behind. And here I have already pre-configured some soft buttons. In this case I have defined a button Garage.The, and this button Garage.The should open my garage door by sending an HTTP command to my camera, and behind that camera there is an RS-232 I/O box which sends the input-output signal to my garage door to open that garage. That is one example for the soft buttons. Later I will show you as well another functionality. To close that, we can close that by pressing again the right lower button in the corner. If we now switching to another nice functionality which is brand new in that version, before we was only able to show 4x4 grid, and now we can define multiple grids. I have predefined some grids. If we selecting one of that grids, we can see 4 cameras underneath. That was a predefinition. If I swipe in each channel, then we have also the full overview, and also getting from one corner of the image to another corner of the image. And we have also the possibility to another grid layouts. For example, here I have adding 3 cameras in a 2x2 layout. And if we combine it with the soft buttons, let us say I enable as well the soft button dialogues in here, and there I have created a button, it's called Privacy On. If I press on that button Privacy On, it will send out to all the displayed cameras the command switch enabling privacy mode. To enabling the privacy modus, or in this case to disabling the privacy modus again, I have defined another button, it's called Privacy Off. Until I press that button, then it will send to all commandos the command please disable the privacy mode of that selected cameras, and it will appearing again the live stream of all that cameras. There are a lot of different functionalities possible to define. How to define another grid is by going to the grid list again, press the plus button. In the plus button you can define a name. Let us define here the name test, choosing us here different grid formats. And for example, you can choose a lot of different grid formats, how many cameras you want to have underneath or beside rows and so on. And if and say save, and then if we're choosing this grid, you see that it's not predefined currently with cameras. For that we go to edit, and then only I will show you that as example. We press on a grid element, a plus, then camera, choosing another element of that grid, camera, and so on, and define your different cameras in that huge 5x5 grid in the MOBOTIX Live app. we say close. And if we want to define in the settings, as I described before, how to enable the reference window, there is here the button until you enable that, and then you have again in the camera list your reference images of all your cameras. Another nice functionality is when you going to the start page, and there you can decide what should be my start view. Should that be by default the first camera in the camera list, or should that be the first grid in the grid list? And then you can choosing that if you need it and if you want it. For example, you got a grid layout with 6 cameras in it, where you say these are my favorites and I want to have that as a start page, and then you're choosing first grid by start, and then it's will taking that automatically. Another nice functionality, after you have configured all that things, you want to export that configuration, and then you can do that by simply first it's asking you for a password to avoid, after you have sending that configuration via email, for example, to the wrong person, that only with the password that selected person can using your configuration and access to all your cameras. As you can see, it allows here all the different communication tools from AirDrop via WhatsApp, via SMS, via mail, and so on, to sending that configuration. Or simply you can also say store that in my local file store of my iPhone in this case. If I choosing that, and let us call it this is configuration for me, and say store it, and then we have store that configuration. That it's sometimes helpful if we want to using a kind of backup. Then I have stored that. If we want to manage here several projects, because I have many customers where I have different configurations, and if I need to support my client by changing the whole setting of their app, I simply loading the configuration of the client in my private iPhone and make the configuration, send that configuration to my client via email, for example, and then I will load again, import my private configuration of the app. As you can see, we have here using here several configurations already in that. So it's a very powerful tool in import and export for all your configuration management. I will cancel that activity, and the last thing what I like to show you is the functionality of the soft buttons, how to configure that. For that, go to the settings menu and then choosing soft button configuration, and there you can creating a new soft button, call this maybe test, or say maybe alarm system enable. Let us assume you have an alarm system which will take a command via HTTP API command, and you know that command. You say no, it's not belonging to a camera. You're choosing the address. It's 192.168.2.3, for example. You type in username, password, and all the things to get access to that system, and then you type in the command, and then you have a lot of predefined commands which are more camera specific, to maybe light toggle of a camera. As you have seen, the command obscure area on, it's already predefined, and many more. And if you want to using a generic camera API, then we have also typed in the most starting commands for that, and then you only need to choose the section. Or you're choosing a custom format where you type in your specific command for your alarm system, by typing in the command, and I don't know how that could look like at your alarm system. I make a simple example, CGI-bin/enable, maybe that could be the alarm, and then you have already predefined the command for your new button alarm system enabled. And if we go there and go to the part you see in the right lower line of the soft buttons. There is the new button, Alarm System Enabled. I hope you will use that app, and if there's any question, you are always welcome to ask us and the support. Thank you very much. Bye bye.